over the coming months, we're going to be doing about 2 a month on a variety of different topics, because although the school teaches you how to formulate organic skincare, we also obviously want to talk about how to run a successful skincare business. So over the next 6 webinars, we're going to be covering topics such as how to sell successfully online, how to get your website to the top of the Google rankings, how to preserve your cosmetics, how to grow and build your mailing list, how to launch a successful brand, and how to master social media. So we've got lots of different topics to cover, and we're going to have a guest speaker for every single webinar from all over the world. We've got all sorts of people lined up to come and talk to you, and even I'm going to do one of them. A few housekeeping notes, just checking my notes here. The webinar is going to last about an hour, no longer than that. At the end, we're going to do a Q&A. So in your little panel, you'll be able to type questions, and I'm going to disappear in a minute and hand over to our guest speaker, who I'm going to introduce to you. But I'll be back at the end to take questions and yes, to find out what you thought of the webinar. The recording will be made available to you. I've had lots of questions about this. We're also going to be making it available to the rest of the people who couldn't attend today, because we've just been inundated with responses. Everyone wants to come and find out how to sell online for their skincare business, and everyone wants to hear from the lovely Star Khashara. So please stay on until the end, because Star also has a very exclusive offer available for 5 of you, I believe, but I'm sure she'll be telling us a lot more about that. And then the next webinar will be on the 25th of November, but we'll be sending out an invite for that soon. So don't worry, you will hear about it shortly. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Star Khashara. Now, Star is a good friend of mine, and she is also the founder of Formula Botanica. So how perfect is this? I actually took over the school from her at the beginning of this year, and Star then went on to set up her own, another very successful online business, which I'm sure she will tell us all about. So I'm going to hand you over to Star now. I'm going to change over to Star. Let's see, where are you, Star, on the list? Where is somebody? Star, make Star the presenter. And I hope you enjoy the webinar. Off you go, Star.
Hi everyone, it's Star here. I'm really excited that so many of you have come to this webinar. I'm really chuffed to still be involved in Formula Botanica. As Lorraine said, I sold the school to her at the beginning of this year, so she could take it on to amazing heights as she's already doing. And I moved on into helping people set up businesses. One of my skills is selling and helping people to write their websites and design their sites so their products and services actually sell. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today with you right now. So what I've done, I've actually designed a kind of lesson for you guys, specifically about how to design your sales pages for selling your actual skincare products. I know this is kind of a tricky subject for some of you. You're so creative, and you're in your labs, and you're formulating, and you're studying ingredients, and you're making these beautiful skincare products, and then suddenly you're out in the world and you're having to like sell them, which is a completely different skill set, and one which is kind of scary for some people. And I totally appreciate that the idea of selling is kind of a scary thing, and I used to be terrible at sales. I actually got sacked from every sales job I ever had back in the day because I was just hopeless at it, until I really learned about authentic selling and selling something I really believe in. And so I got better and better, and obviously now I'm very successful at selling. And so I want to share some of these tips and skills with you, because I do believe that anyone can learn to do this. Okay, so if you're there thinking, oh my God, I know how to make skincare, but I'm absolutely awful at the sales part, don't worry, I've got you covered. Okay, so that's what we're going to do right now. So I hope you're making notes, by the way, because there's going to be some tasty tidbits that you're going to need to apply to your own businesses. So first of all, I'm going to share with you my 4-step plan that you need to start implementing in order to create more sales in your skincare business. And then I'm going to show you an example of a really awesome sales page using a kind of formula that I invented, I guess, and I'm going to show you that, and we're going to talk through it, and I'm going to show you the various elements of how it works. So first of all, my 4-step plan about how to build sales more in your business is this. The first thing that I feel is really, really important in the skincare world is to not try and sell everything all at once. I see many people's skincare websites, and they're going on about all their different products, which is obviously great, but it's very hard to actually make big sales when you're trying to sell everything all at the same time. And if you look at some of the bigger companies, even the kind of the chemical companies as well, because they are good for looking at a sales technique, is that what they'll do is actually focus on one product, like a signature product, or even a small signature range of products. And this is what I'm telling you to do, is that when you've got your products out there and you've got your website ready to go, and you've got, say, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 products or whatever, focus on one main product. Usually your most expensive one works really well, or something that's really quite special. So you don't want to pick an ordinary product like, I don't know, like a generic lip balm or anything. You want to pick something that's really quite standing out, maybe like an anti-aging serum, or something that's really specific, like something that helps treat a specific problem, like spots or wrinkles, or something that makes your hair amazing, something that has like an instant that captures the hearts of your audience like instantly. So that's what you want to do. You want to focus your efforts on one signature product, or a very small kind of boutique range, like 2 or 3 products at the most. And you want that highlighted everywhere. So as soon as someone comes to your website, the first thing they see is that signature product. And it's all singing and all dancing, and you're raving about it. And every time you, that on your Facebook page, if you have a Facebook page related to your business, and your Twitter, you want to be constantly talking about this signature product. Now, if you're thinking, yeah, but Star, what about all my other products that I'm trying to sell too? Yeah, this is the thing. This is where the magic happens. If you concentrate on that one signature product and sing and dance about it and get loads of testimonials and get people raving and buzzing about it, then what will happen is naturally people will then start looking at your other products and thinking, well, if this thing's so amazing, then our other stuff must be really good too. And so they'll naturally start buying other things as well. I mean, if you look at companies like L'Oreal, yeah, I know we hate them, but if you look at what they do, they'll have this one signature product for like maybe 6 months or even 2 years. But do you think that's all they sell? No, of course not. Their other stuff also sells. But what people are buying into is this one product with this dream, this vision, this big kind of like, woohoo, it's got the wow factor. And that's what you want to do. You want to pick the product of yours that's got the wow factor and make that your signature product, and then start raving about it, okay? So that's your first step with making more sales. So the second thing is, even before you start selling or even have a website up, you need to start creating buzz. And this is something that's ongoing. Like, this kind of thing never ends. So no matter how long you've been in business, you need to keep creating buzz. And this is one of probably the most hardest thing, only because it takes consistency. So you need to be doing this all the time. And creating buzz can be quite time consuming, for sure. But what happens in business is a lot of people are creating the wrong kind of buzz. Just like with the product sales, they're trying to focus on everything. And so this is how you're going to create buzz. Once you've picked your signature product or small capsule signature range, what you're going to do is make sure all the buzz that you're feeding out into the world in social media or via blogging or whatever method you particularly use, is related to that product. So here's how to do it. Get that product and then start brainstorming all the different interesting things you could talk about. It could be all the ingredients. No doubt there's at least 20 interesting ingredients in your product. Each of those ingredients would then be a blog post or a tweet or a post on your Facebook page, or it could be a newsletter that goes out, a kind of, did you know this ingredient, da-da-da-da-da. And then obviously at the end you would have a link and a showcase about the product that contains that ingredient. And there's other things you could do, that the story behind why you created that product. Every product's got a story. I know from my 20 years of working in skincare as well, that I wouldn't just blindly sit in my lab and grab things. There was always a reason why. There was always a vision or an idea that I had. I might have got the idea from a menu I saw in a restaurant with a dish, and I thought, oh, those sound like interesting flavors, and I translate it into smells, and then I start thinking about a skincare product. And so every product you've come up with, there will be some kind of backstory, and people love the backstory. So again, those can be used when you're creating buzz around your product. So again, when you send out a newsletter, or when you blog, or if you guest blog, or if you talk like this on a webinar or anything with anyone, you want to keep making sure you're relating to that signature product. So talk about the backstory, talk about the individual ingredients. Don't give all the stuff at once though. You want to reel out kind of blog posts over like a few months. So maybe brainstorm 10 or 20 posts you can think of right now. Actually, don't write them down right now though while I'm talking, but later on when you finish, write down sort of 10 or 20 ideas for blog posts that relate. So you want ones that are about your ingredients, you want some that relate to your backstory of why you created the product. You also want to drop in some like facts in there, because people like the geeky facts, and it's nice, it gives you that kind of clout with your product that you know what you're doing. So drop in some facts about why these particular ingredients do something. And that's kind of really what you need to start doing, and the benefits obviously to the consumer. So what are the benefits of using these particular ingredients and products that you're creating? And then just start drip feeding that out everywhere. And again, make sure it relates back to your signature product that you're going to be launching or that you've already launched. It doesn't matter if you've already got something out there, you can start this process right now, because it's never too late to start generating buzz around something. Okay. And then the third step in my 4-step sell your skincare online plan is your actual sales page. Now, what I see in the skincare world quite often is that people don't really bother with a proper sales page. They just have a shop, and then you click on each product, and then there's a little bit of info and a buy now button, and that's it. And that kind of shop style is fine when you're already well known, if you're already kind of famous. Like if you went to the Lush website, you would kind of already have bought into their vibe, and so you're just clicking because you want their bath bombs and their lip balms and whatever. But as a new person out there in the world trying to make a name for yourself, and you don't yet have a massive global following, and also you're an artisan, you don't have big factories like Lush does, you're an actual artisan making those products and designing them, you want to come across as being above that whole here's my shop vibe. And so you want to start creating actual sales pages with lots of information that grabs the attention and hooks in your potential customer. Now, we are going to go into sales pages in a little while. I'm actually going to show you exactly what a good sales page looks like, because it's one of my skills, is writing a good sales page that actually makes sales. But I just wanted to give you an overview, and what a sales page is, it's kind of like a gallery, a showcase for one specific product. So again, you'll concentrate for now on a sales page for your signature product or signature capsule range that you're going to choose to highlight. And one of the most important things is at the top, you want to really get people's attention. So there's no good calling your product something really generic like chamomile face oil. You want to be really out there with the names, not to the extent where it sounds cheesy. Like I know companies like Lush, that's their kind of vibe, being funny and making up these silly names. But you want to, your name could be something that draws the customer in because it tells them what the benefit is in the name. For example, something like triple rose anti-aging facial serum sounds a lot better than rose face oil. You want to kind of call out the properties in the name itself, and that's the first part of your sales page. Right at the top, you've got the name of your product, which also describes, it kind of hooks people in, it describes the benefit of that product. And then moving down in your sales page, you want to start thinking of a really amazing kind of strap line, as it were, or tagline that really spells out exactly what this product is all about. And again, I'm going to show you some examples in a minute when I switch myself off and we go and look at the actual screen of the sales page I've already made. And then you want to make sure that you're labeling the benefits. A lot of people seem to write their product as if it's in a catalog, and it's kind of like, it's a cream and it's in a jar and you put it on your face. Well, that kind of thing is not going to cut it in the online sales world. You need to be selling on the benefits. So you're going to draw people in with how it's going to change their lives. And I know this sounds crazy, it's only skincare, right? But it really isn't. When people choose skincare, they really are thinking, well, why the hell should I shell out $20 or $30 or however much for this product? What's it really going to do for me? What's in it for me? And that's what the customer is thinking. So you've got to get in that mindset of like, You don't want to be describing your product to someone. You want to be selling them on the benefits it's going to make to them and give to them, and on the way it's going to change their life, okay, even in that small way. And so we're going to look at some benefit statements in a minute. And the next thing is, highlight your key ingredients. Don't list the whole kit and caboodle. Obviously, for legal reasons, if they're in the EU, you do need to put your ingredients list somewhere on the page, but that can go right at the bottom. For now, you just want to highlight those key ingredients and pick the really special ones. The ones that sound amazing, the ones that sound exotic, the ones where a customer's going to go, ooh, I've not seen that in many things. This must be really good. So really highlight those. Pick only about 3 to 5. And again, with the benefit statements, your key benefits, you only want to pick 3 to 5. Don't overload people. 3 to 5, so 3, 4, or 5 statements is enough. Okay, so you want 3, 4, or 5 key benefit statements, and then 3, 4, or 5 key ingredient listings. And those ingredient listings should really back up what the benefits are saying. So if you say this cream makes your lips glossier, then in your ingredients listing, you want to put that this is the ingredient that actually does that. So you're matching up. It's kind of providing proof that these benefits just aren't like plucked out of thin air. And again, we're going to look at that in the actual sales page in a minute. And then the next thing is you want to get to your actual product description. So this is where things can get a little bit exciting because it involves a bit of creative writing. Your product description isn't really a description. It's not really about, customers don't really care about the jar or about the consistency of the cream and all that jazz. What they really care about is buying into your story and buying into the power of this product and how it's going to change their life, right? So you've already given them some little snippets of the key ingredients and the key benefits. And now it's time to really reel in that sale by giving the story of that product. And the story could be simply like, if you're selling something about, maybe a product that makes your skin glow, you could tell a story about how, you used to hate waking up in the morning and looking in the mirror and like, oh my goodness, my skin looks like really, just pale. I don't look very alive, and this product's changed my life because I now wake up in the morning and I go into work and everyone's like, wow, you look amazing. So this is the story, and this is how, and then you start dropping in the description for the product. This is an easy to use roll-on serum, or this is a clear gel. You can just drop that in as breadcrumbs in amongst the main story of your product. So the product description is a really big important part of your sales page as well. And then you want to drop in some testimonials there. So testimonials you can get by simply asking people to trial your product and then give you some feedback. And so testimonials are really important for social proof because people really do buy now on the word of mouth of other people. That's why sites like TripAdvisor are so popular. And that's why social media marketing is so popular, because people like buying from other people and from companies their friends have recommended. So when you get your testimonials, don't make the mistake that a lot of people do. They just write them up as like a boring bit of text. What you need to do, if you're able to do this, is ask the person that's giving the testimonial if they could give you a headshot of their face, and maybe if this person's a professional person, maybe their professional title or even a website where they actually work, and that just gives more social proof. So rather than just, this cream was amazing by some faceless person, you could have a picture of them, their name, their title, their web link, and it just gives that added feeling of trust from your customer. So when they come to your site, they're like, oh, these other people liked it, it must be good. And of course, I'm sure your products are good, but the world at large does not know that unless you tell them. So testimonials are a really important part of making your products sell well online. Okay, so I'm just referring to my notes quickly. And then obviously at the bottom of your sales page, you can then do the kind of what I call the boring stuff, the stuff you have to put on there, the size of the jar, the weight of it, the full ingredients list, and the price. And then you want to make sure you state your prices loud and proud. Do not try and hide them. Do not even, or worse, don't put them on at all. I mean, I don't know why people don't put their prices on stuff. It's most annoying. And if I see a company that they haven't put their prices on, there's no way I'm clicking the buy now button at all, because I want to know how much that product is going to cost me before I click. So be proud of your prices. Don't hide them. If you really believe your serum is worth $300, then by all means, shout that from the rooftops, because the more proud you are of your own price, the more your customer will trust you and think, well, it seems expensive, but obviously it must be, fine for it to be that expensive, because look, all these people love it and they haven't tried to hide the fact it is pricey. So be proud of your price. So have your price there and then your buy now button, or if you've got different options. However, obviously these kind of different systems will work differently depending on what system you're using to actually sell your actual products. So, but at the bottom, obviously, you then have what we call the call to action, which is where you ask for the sale. And just before that call to action, you want to just like reinforce why they need to buy it. So drop a couple more testimonials in there, build up a little bit of buzz towards the end, maybe like have yourself saying, as a maker of this product, I'm so glad I developed this because I was lost without this product. If only this product was around when I was in my 20s and had all these skin problems, blah, 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 blah. Tell the story. And then loud and proud price, straight in with your payment button, make that big and powerful as well. Don't try and hide it away. And then, so that's step 3 in the 4 steps to making more sales. So we've done 1, which is create your signature product that you're going to promote the most. 2, build your buzz around that product. 3, create an amazing sales page that's going to really like hook your customer in and get them to make the sale. And then you're going to, your 4th thing is you've got to link the ass out of that sales page. So even on your, your Twitter profile or your Facebook page, wherever you put your link to your website normally, instead of just making it your .com website, make sure it's the link to that signature product. Okay, so drop that everywhere. Put it in your email signature. I call it sprinkling the links. You've got to sprinkle them like confetti. So don't just link to your generic homepage, link straight to that signature product. And then say on your, in your bump, wherever you put a little blurb about yourself saying, creator of the amazing blah, 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 blah serum with a link straight to your sales page for your signature product. Okay. So I'm sure you're tired of looking at my face by now. I'm going to switch myself off and I'm going to show you a sales page. Now, bear in mind, I just knocked this up for you guys. It's not normally, it's not a sales page that obviously is mine because I don't sell skincare products, but I built a sales page so I could illustrate these different things for you. So I'm just going to go through it now. So just bear with me a sec while I switch myself off. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see my screen. And this is a sales page I just quickly knocked up just to illustrate. So as you can see, I've made up this product, so don't ask me where you can buy this. It doesn't exist. So here we have something I've called the Strawberry Seed Eyelid Tightening Gel. So as you can see straight in with the title, I have described what that product does. I haven't just called it Strawberry Eye Gel. It's Eyelid Tightening Gel. And I've also highlighted an amazing product, Strawberry Seed. So people are already going to be thinking, Strawberry Seed? What the hell? So it's going to create a little bit of buzz just by the fact I'm using a weird ingredient. And then we've got tightening gel, so the eyelid tightening gel, which sells the benefit of the product already straight in with the title. Okay. You also want a really nice picture. Too many times I've gone to skincare websites and there's no picture at all. Or worse, a really awful picture taken with a smartphone, which is all blurry and grainy and just looks awful. If you're going to sell really nice skincare online, you've got to make your pictures look good. And if that means shelling out to get a professional photographer, then do it, because pictures really do paint, 1,000 words. Your words sell as well, but the picture illustrate the words. So make sure your pictures are really good. You only need one. You don't need to have a ton of pictures, but make sure the picture is awesome, okay? So next we'll move on down to what I call the strap line or tagline. And this is really a kind of a mini description, but it already sells, it's kind of, again, selling on the benefit of the product. So I've written here, sweetly fragrant organic gel that contains an array of nutraceuticals that help uplift the eye area, creating a youthful look. Now, bear in mind, obviously, there are legal implications as to what you can actually say when you promote your products. But for artistry's sake, I'm just showing you what it looks like to create benefit statements as your tagline and strapline, okay? So again, you see sweetly fragrant. I'm painting a picture of that product. You can almost smell it on the page, right? Nutraceuticals. So that's really exciting. It sounds scientific, and it gives it's given that impression that there's some wonderful ingredients in the product. And then I'm going to say that it's uplifting the eye area and creating the youthful look. So I'm already selling on benefits right from the word go. So here already, just at the top of the page, they've got tightening gel and then uplifting and youthful look. So this is all kind of triggering in the mind of the person, like, oh yeah, this is going to really, do something with my eyes in the morning so I look bright and vibrant. And then I'm going bang, straight in with a testimonial. So as you can see, I've just made this one up because this is a made-up product. But as what I was saying about testimonials here, you can see I've got the picture of the person's face, her, which is me, and the name, and then their job, which was my old job here when I used to write for Natural Health magazine. It just gives that social clout that you need, so people go, oh, it must be good if she says it's good. And then here are some of my benefit statements, like I said. So I've given 3 key benefits. Like I said, you can have between 3 and 5. I wouldn't do any more than 5. It gets a little bit confusing and like a list. And any less than 3 doesn't really have the impact that you need. So I've put a 3 here. So, and I've given it a title as well, Revive the Windows of Your Soul. So I haven't just jumped in with the benefits. I've kind of led them in with a little headline. So again, we're think about headlines in stories in magazines. All right. So revive the windows of your soul, window to your soul, because eyes are called the windows of the soul. So here we go. Little tick list gives a youthful glow to the eye area. The fruit antioxidants plump up fine lines to erase them. And natural uplifting biocompounds create a tightening effect on the eyelid skin. So they're already thinking, oh my goodness, this sounds awesome. And then I'm going to move into the key ingredients. Now, not everyone will be able to do this the way it looks on my page. I'm using a specific WordPress theme that allows me to do all this cool stuff. But most websites, especially if you're using WordPress, will allow you to jazz them up with these little extra bits and bobs. Okay, so don't think this has to be exactly like mine. This could just be a simple table. It could be an image. It could be however you want. Just make sure you're highlighting something. So here's where we move on to our key ingredients. So I've got the finest of organic ingredients to beautify your eyes. And here I've got a list. I haven't filled in all these. I just wanted to illustrate. So I put some random ingredients here. And again, you're picking only 3 to 5 ingredients. That's going to back up what you said here at the benefit area. Okay. So pick your finest 5 ingredients. No one wants to know that it's got some almond oil in, because that's a really boring foundation ingredient. You want to put all the jazzy stuff in here. So look, strawberry seed oil, and then you're going to describe it, but you're going to describe it like the story. You're painting the picture again. So I haven't just put an oil that's got essential fatty acids in. Look, a gorgeous light oil with a faint aroma of fresh wood and strawberries. This oil is rich in complex fatty acids that rejuvenate the skin, and ellagic acid, which has been proven to protect the skin from UV damage and sun aging. So you're kind of telling them the facts, but in a story kind of way. Okay, because this is how sales work, really, especially these days with social selling. It's all about the story. So then again, you're going to do the same with your other ingredients. So just 3 to 5 key ingredients you're going to put next. And then this is where you're going to lead in to the story behind the actual product itself. So this would be your product description, but we're not calling it that because that sounds kind of boring. So I've put, I've imagined I've made this product while on a long flight, and my eyes are really horrible, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I wish I had a product that would make my eyes amazing. So this is what I've imagined. And so a discovery is so precious. It was after a long flight to the far-flung land of Mauritius, I wish, that I discovered this amazing plant that could revive my tired eyes. We've all suffered from puffy, blotchy eyes at some point, whether it's jet lag or lack of sleep or being up all night worrying about that business meeting. Now, I'm going to tell you something here. The reason I wrote that exact phrase is because this is a sales page for a high-end product. So in my mind, I'm thinking about a high-end woman. So jet lag, because she goes on long-haul flights for holidays and business, and she's being up all night worried about a business meeting because she's a high-flying businesswoman. So when you're telling this story, make sure you weave it around the kind of customer that's going to come to you to buy the products, okay? So if that's a mother or a working mum, make sure your story includes scenarios that that person is going to have actually experienced in their life, okay? And that's going to give it a lot more punch. And so here we go. I lead on to say, yeah, an instant eye reviving is what we need to make us feel alive and fresh, and to look at alert, because you never know when the boss is watching, right? So again, we're kind of empathizing, like, oh my God, we know what it's like to be a high-flying woman. You've got to be busy, but you're also tired, but you can't look tired. So this product is going to change your life. It may even get you a promotion. Who knows? So I haven't written the full story here because obviously this is a made-up product, but you can hopefully get the gist of this. So you go on and then you start dropping in key ingredients about your thing, about your product. So when I discovered that, blah, 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 was able to do, I was amazed and relieved. So here you're going to drop in the benefits and the ingredient names as part of the story, okay? And then you want to go straight into some more testimonials. I've just repeated mine here because I don't have any real ones because, like I said, this is just a page I made for you guys to show you how it works. So bang in with a couple of more testimonials here to build that kind of excitement. And then bang, we're leading into the final straight now for the sale. So we want to just reiterate what they're going to get. And so here we go. Give yourself the gift of beautiful eyes today. And I've specifically put today because we want them to make the sale now, right? You don't want them to come back in a week when they've forgotten and they've got to go through all your stuff again. You want them to make the decision now. And it's the gift of beautiful eyes. Don't make the mistake when you're selling that you think you're pushing a sale on someone. It's not like that at all. You're making products that you know someone's going to genuinely benefit from. And so don't be afraid to tell them that this is a gift, you know, this is going to really make their lives amazing. You're giving them a gift. So they're giving themselves the gift because they're going to buy it. And then here is where we go into what I call just the normal boring stuff. So I've got here just a kind of little chart which gives them a couple of choices and then the buy now button. Normally I would make my buy now much bigger. I would have like a bespoke button made by a graphic designer or something, but I'm just illustrating now. You want to be buy now, and you can see that my product here, I've been very proud of the prices. I haven't tried to hide it at all. It's $25 or $20 depending on what they choose. And then I've added in, again, right underneath the buy now button, a couple of more testimonials to bring it home so they're really convinced and they make that sale. So that's really the basics of creating your sales page and your 4 steps towards making more sales online. Before we go into the question and answer section, because I'm sure some of you have got some burning questions you'd love to ask me, I'm just going to just tell you one more thing. I'm just going to put my webcam back on for you. Here I am back. Hopefully you can see me and something weird hasn't happened. Another thing I thought of actually just a few minutes before the webinar started was make sure whatever you do online, you're trying to add value to your customers' lives. So a really good way of doing that is that when you've got your shop set up and you've got your signature product chosen and your sales page done, you're creating buzz, think about ways that you can really give some extra value. Some of the things I thought of that could be really helpful to you is that rather than make like a little, a downloadable catalog of your products, why not make a skincare guide that just happens to obviously showcase all your best products? But you can do a guide which, for example, has the different skin types or the different skin problems that your products tackle. And then you can list, right, if you have this kind of skin, these 3 products will really help. And then include like a little routine they could do, like first of all, steam your face, and then you want to, using a muslin cloth, you do this, and then use this product to massage it into skin, and really give them like some rituals to use with your products and guide them through it step by step. Because sometimes when a customer will come to your page, they might be confused and they might not know what they want. And in sales, a confused customer always says no. So you want to make it as crystal clear to them. You could even have on your sales page, download this spa ritual this free spa ritual you can do with this product, something nice that they can take away, even if they never buy from you, even if they just download that and bugger off and you never see from them again. Just think about that. Don't try and make it always about trying to make the sale. By giving value to people, they will automatically remember you and remember your business. And also, obviously, I hope I don't have to spell this out, but anything they download and take away should have your logo and your website emblazoned all over it. So you never know, maybe in a year or so, they suddenly might find that and go, oh yeah, my skin was really helped by that free ritual they gave out. I'm going to go to their site now. I've got $50 Christmas money and I'm going to spend it all on your products. So start giving value like that. Another way would be to maybe create your own mini skincare book as well. Just giving some advice, some little tips and hints about stuff. Again, you can drop in some of your products that would be helpful for that thing. So you could do a thing like, right, maybe like a pre-wedding skin detox, like a 3-day skin detox for brides to be, telling them exactly what they can do, and then dropping in your products like, now you want to use this serum on day 2, which will do this. So start creating like little valuable things that you give your clients for free, and that will really help you make your sales as well. I can't stress that enough, really. My entire businesses have been built on giving free value a lot of the time, and it's paid dividends, believe me. So anything you can give to your customers that's really going to help them look after their skin, they're going to rave about you and they're going to become lifelong fans, because it's easy to make that one sale. It's not so easy to keep customers coming back and buying more and more. And all the time there are new skincare products coming out and new skincare companies starting up. So don't be afraid of giving lots of free value to your customers and turning them from a customer into a loyal fan of your work and of you and of your products. And following my 4 steps plus the added 5th step of adding value wherever you can will turn your sales, your customers into loyal raving fans, and you'll start to see your sales climb month after month. Okay, if you keep doing it, be consistent. That's the key. So I think I've talked long enough. It's almost 20 to 9 here in the UK, so I wanted to give about 15 minutes for questions anyway. And as there's so many of you on this call, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of questions. So I'm going to hand over to, I think Lorraine's now going to pop some questions for me. Hello, Lorraine.
Back. I'm still here. Hi, everyone. And great to see so many people still on the call. Thank you very much for obviously dialing in and listening to everything Star had to say. And thank you, Star, for such an interesting presentation. So I was chuckling away in the background here at your little jokes. So thank you very much. We have had a couple of questions in already. Let me read them out for you. The first one is, can you have descriptive names of products such as anti-aging or conditioning if you've not had it clinically tested or proven? And you obviously touched on this a little bit already in your presentation, talking about the legal aspects as well.
It is really tricky, to be honest, and it's different in different countries as well. So without knowing what country the questioner is in, it's kind of hard to tell, but the best way forward would be to, if you're unsure, don't do it. And generally speaking, something like anti-aging is kind of like a clinical term. So you probably want to avoid using terms like anti-aging directly in the product. But a way to get around that, if you are making anti-aging products, you can use the words like rejuvenating is not such a clinically tested word, because it's kind of a bit more vague, but we all know what it means, really. And also, when you're describing your ingredients, you can say things like, in some tests, this has shown to potentially have an anti-aging effect. And that way, you're kind of operating outside of making a direct scientific statement, which you want to avoid, because that is when people like the EU cosmetic peeps and the FDA will come down on your ass.
Yes, this is Nicola in the UK, and she's a formula at the moment. And let's see what she said. Yes, she was meaning more like nourishing cuticle oil, that sort of thing. And Nicola, just so you know, there is also EU legislation on how you can actually label products nowadays. So, for instance, people can no longer say my product contains no parabens. I mean, that is now actually against the law, because you are being unfair to those people whose products do contain that sort of ingredient. And I know many people on the call will not agree with that, but that's the law and I didn't write it. So yes, okay, let's take another question. Someone here has asked if there's any WordPress training, and they were obviously so impressed with what you were doing with your WordPress site. Wow. That they want to know where they can find out more.
Yeah, the WordPress sites, the site that I built, and I build for all my businesses, I use this particular WordPress theme called Enfold. And I didn't even think to mention this on the call at all, but I'm actually launching a training in how to build websites like mine in Enfold, and it's only going to be about $47 to buy the course. It's like about 8 videos, and I talk you through exactly how to build sales pages is one of the lessons as well. So yeah, I'm actually launching that really soon. So if anyone's interested, I'm sure my website is linked somewhere, and you can grab hold of me and send me an email, and I'll give you some details about that.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, we've got another question coming here, and please keep them coming, everyone, because there's still loads of you on the call. So tell Star what you need to know. Someone says, when providing product specifications at the bottom of a sales page, would you also list any warnings, such as contains essential oils which may cause skin irritation in some individuals?
Yes, indeed. That bottom section, which is what I call the boring stuff, is where you list anything that's a legal requirement as well. So anything where you have to label, list sensitizers, or say it's not for pregnant women. It's also where you can put your endorsements. For example, if it's certified organic, or for certified vegan, or beauty without cruelty. That is the area where you put all that stuff. So it's kind of like the administration area. It's not really where you're trying to sell as such, but it's where you put in stuff that has to be said. So you want to put your full ingredients list on there. And obviously, if you're in the EU, that needs to be your INCI names or your INCI names in proper order. Yeah, that's where you'd put like any warnings or anything like that. It's also where you put the weight of the product and the price and everything, and what it comes in and how much the postage is and all that kind of stuff.
Brilliant.
Question.
Okay, here's another one. Hi Star, I am planning to start my own skincare range and I'm still at a very basic stage. I have many queries, but to start off with, I want to understand which way I should start selling my products, online or in a shop, in a store.
Ah, interesting. Well, it really depends on what your focus is, because, for example, selling in a shop can be horrendously expensive to start up, and making skincare to sell is not cheap, as you know. If you're using brilliant ingredients and you've got all the legislation stuff in place and you've got your lab set up, it's not a cheap business to go into at all. So if you haven't got a large budget, then it's so much easier to start selling online, because you can have a website up and running in a couple of days if you wanted to, especially if you do my course in the web design. It's really quite simple. If you pay a web designer, you can have something up and running in a few weeks. Whereas setting up a whole shop, I mean, you're looking at spending tens of thousands, if not more. And obviously, if you've got the budget for that, then by all means go for it. But I think this day and age, people don't mind buying online. We are in a world where people are now used to buying lots of stuff online. And although you do lack online the ability to test stuff out, there's nothing, a lot of companies are getting around that anyway by sending out little samples where you can buy like a tiny version for not very much money, or even a free sample. But so it's really down to like your own personal budget, which way you go. Personally, these days, I think everyone benefits from having something online, even if you did choose to run a physical business. But if you are going to go down to the physical bricks and mortar business and you can't afford a whole shop, and you're thinking, oh, I'll do craft fairs and all that, just bear in mind that there's a certain market that you will appeal to, and high-end stuff won't really work in those circumstances. So if you're saying, right, I'm going to make $30 serums, but then you're going to the craft market where everything's 50p, just bear in mind that that's going to have a massive impact on your sales.
Okay, the questions are flooding in here. Thank you, everyone. Someone asks, which laboratories in the UK can test and certify our products, and could you please name a few? Well, I'm sure you know a few, Star.
I don't know if I can remember any. I think you're the expert on that one now, Lorraine.
Well, there are many. I mean, if you want a safety assessor in the UK, then a lot of the smaller scale natural companies go to Cosmetic Safety Assessments, which is run by Scott. Can't remember his surname at the moment. The feedback we get from everyone is that they take hours, I mean, weeks to answer the phone and answer their emails. So there is another company in Oxford called Oxford Biosciences, which is worth checking out because they're getting a really good write-up at the moment.
Oh, that's
Okay,
good.
I shouldn't be answering your questions here, Star. Okay, here's a great one. Here's a great one from Elena. Here's a great one from Elena in New York. Is it possible to make a brilliant selling page look more compact?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just using my own kind of like format of how I did it. I haven't really gone through and refined the gaps between everything. I just kind of chucked up a test page so I can illustrate to you guys. There's loads of different ways you can structure that sales page as long as the elements are present, which are the elements I covered obviously. So you've got to make sure you have that headline and then your tagline and then your testimonials. How you organize that is kind of down to you. I've organized it in a traditional sales page kind of way, which is where you're funneling the client down to the call to action at the bottom, because it just kind of works psychologically that way, that people want to like, they kind of want to buy into your story first before they make the sale. So having the buy now button at the top, for example, wouldn't work nearly as well as having it at the bottom after they've read down your page. So there's a format to that for a reason, but there's no reason why it couldn't be shorter. I just like making like really fancy ones, so that's kind of my vibe.
Okay. Right, here's another one. Well, getting online sales is tough. Yes, okay. The logistics of sending products out is another minefield. Can you give any tips on how to sort delivery, pricing in terms of international selling? Because this is a must for me as my home market is very small, yet jars and bottles are going to be very heavy to post. Thank you.
Right. Well, I mean that could be a whole other webinar on its own, especially pricing.
Yes.
But I would recommend if your home market is small and you are starting to make volume sales abroad, you might want to look into a drop shipping company, or even approaching a fulfillment house that will actually bottle your product and send it out for you. Because doing all that on your own, if you're working from a small space, like just from your home, and your international market is getting big and you're having to send out big orders, it's not going to be sustainable as a business model for you. It's going to cost a lot and it's going to be a pain in the bum to do. So if that is happening to you right now, then I would suggest looking up drop shipping companies or fulfillment houses. And I'm sure if there's too many questions like this afterwards, we can somehow put a list up somewhere, Lorraine, could we, with like some links or something?
Absolutely, yes. Keep them coming, everyone. We've still got 10 minutes. We want to get our money's worth out, Star. Okay. Is it expensive to get the product certified to be anti-aging, etc.? You don't, I mean, I know plenty of people who sell anti-aging products that have the word anti-aging in their title, and it really depends on the safety assessor you use if you're in the EU. If you're outside of the EU, you may not even need to get them certified. It really depends on the legalities of the country that you work in. So you need to have a look at the legislation of wherever you are in the world, because you may not even need to get them approved. And even here in the EU, that isn't always necessary. It really depends on who you're working with. Sorry, I just jumped in there.
Yeah, no, that's totally cool. And Lorraine's absolutely right. I mean, if you're in America, anything goes. You can literally, well, almost, you can literally say anything. You guys have it so easy. We're kind of jealous of you guys, over here, because you don't really have the horrible hoops that we have to go through in this country. But again, like Lorraine said, there are still loads of companies using terms like anti-aging, which apparently the new legislation was going to be cutting down on. But again, it really depends who you're working with, because the law is kind of vague as well. So different assessors will, apply their own logic to stuff, and sometimes that logic isn't very logical. I would just say if you're going to use words like anti-aging, just keep as much information you can on any scientific data that comes out relating to the ingredients that you're using that are the anti-aging ingredients, because then if anyone does, call you up on it, you'll be like, well, look, this is all in mainstream science now. It's common knowledge that this stuff is that.
Brilliant. Let's see. Hello, Star. Please, can you tell me what is the best way to sell online if not using Facebook? And actually, on that note, there are quite a few students in the school who don't use Facebook, and I do get quite a few emails about this. So yes, what do you do if you're not on Facebook?
What? That does not compute. Yeah, okay, well, I mean, for a start, you don't need Facebook to sell anything. I don't know whether you're thinking specifically of Facebook ads or just having a Facebook page, but personally, I don't have Facebook ads, so I don't technically sell on Facebook. I just merely use Facebook as a place because people assume you're going to be on Facebook, so they come and look for you there. However, you can use other methods. I do recommend you using some form of social media because it's almost impossible now to get a massive following for your work if you're not on social media anywhere, because people really want to connect with the person behind the product, and that's kind of not possible to do from a website, right? So you need to be somewhere. So whether that's Twitter or LinkedIn or even YouTube. YouTube is a great one if you love doing videos. If you're kind of a show off like me and you fancy getting a channel going and talking about skincare and even like demonstrating it, you know, putting your face mask on and all that kind of stuff, that's totally awesome. You don't need to be on Facebook, but you do need to utilize some form of social media. So just pick the one that resonates with you the most. That could even be Pinterest or Instagram, because there are loads of courses out there and loads of free info about how to use those systems to build a fan base and actually make sales. So whatever you want to do, just pick the one that you love doing and do it consistently, and then look up the tricks and techniques you need to actually turn that into, you know, a method to bring sales in and to bring following in.
Brilliant. Okay, here's another question from Fabio, who says, how do you price your products? And he then follows up with another question. He's talking about costs, profit margins, how do you set your retail price, that sort of thing. Big question.
Well, yeah, a good question and a technical one. And my skill isn't so much in the actual pricing, because that's a whole other skill set. But I totally disagree with the traditional model of pricing, which is basically you work out how much it costs, then you add on a certain amount for you add on a bit for your margin, and then you add on some for wholesale or whatever. I think that method is old school, it's outdated, and it prevents people from actually making some real money in their businesses, because you scrape by on these tiny margins. Don't sell on price, sell on value. If you're making a really amazing product and you've spent the time to learn that skill and spent the time to research those ingredients, and you know that it's going to have an impact on people, then you can price your product however you want. You can sell, you know, actually some silly research for you. Go and look up, go to Google and put in the 10 most expensive skincare products and just see what comes up. It's quite fun. You'll see some products being sold for ridiculous amounts of money, £2,000. And I've actually looked into the ingredients of some of these products, and they are, quite frankly, really cheap to make. They've just bunged a bit of gold leaf in on some of them, and they're selling on the name. They're selling on the buzz. They've created buzz. Because imagine this. Imagine if you went to your sandwich shop to buy a sandwich, and most of the sandwiches are like £3.50, and then suddenly there's a sandwich that was like 30 quid. And you'd be like, whoa, why is this sandwich 30 quid? And you'd be curious, and part of you might not buy it the first time you see it, but after a while that's going to seep into your brain, and you'd be like, I want to know why this sandwich is £30. Why is it so expensive? And eventually you're going to buy it because it's got your curiosity. And this is how these top end, really expensive products work. They basically price themselves so ridiculously that people go, whoa, it must be amazing. It must have so much value in there for me that it's that expensive. And so that's what you want to do. You want to raise the value of your product and let people know how valuable it is, and give loads of value to your customers in the ways I described earlier. And then you can you can literally price your product as much as you want. I mean, there really is no limits. I mean, when I was working in skincare, I was developing a face mask that I was going to sell for £300. You know, and I know I can sell it if I wanted to. But obviously I left that business to do something else. But maybe one day I might still put my £300 face mask out there. But you know, so to get rid of that old model of pricing altogether and just be like, sit with it and be like, do you know what? I just want to make the best products that give the most value, and then charge it appropriately to what you really think they're worth, even if that's tons.
Okay, I'm gonna ask two more questions because it is 9:04, and some of us, you know, have to have to leave, unfortunately. Here's a good one. Would you recommend using a template virtual shop at GoDaddy, for example, or Shopify, for instance, or would you recommend building it from scratch?
Good question. And to be honest, I haven't looked at the GoDaddy stuff, so I can't give an exact answer. But what I would say is this. Some templates are really rigid on what you can put in. So you may find you're not able to put in all the information for a sales page that you need if you're using a template. So really check into what these templates actually look like first and how much detail you're able to put in. And if it's not going to work for you in that way, then it wouldn't be worth buying, even if it's really a cheap option. Because there are other, systems out there. I think Shopify, I think, is one of them that people use, which allows you to put a lot more detail in. Or you could simply build your own sales pages. You don't have to have a shop as such, which is a kind of software in itself. In my business, I don't use any shop software at all. I simply build a page for each thing and have a payment button on it, because that gives me the opportunity to sell the story of the product and to really, sell on the value of that product. Whereas a shop feels a bit cheaper, if you see what I mean. It's like, oh, I'm going to go there, click and buy it, which is like what we do on Amazon or Tesco or anywhere like that. And you want to make it feel more like they're coming with you on a journey, buying into your vibe. And sales pages help you do that better.
Okay. Last question, guys. I'm sorry, there's so many questions here. I just don't think we can do all of them, unfortunately. This is a great question, and I really identify with this question because I had big issues with this in the beginning as well. Stacey writes, I've read that it's important to have a picture of yourself on your about page. Do you agree? Because I'm not a fan of having my picture taken, so I've avoided this so far. And I'd just like to say, Stacey, I was exactly like you. I used to have shades on in my photos. I hid behind the camera. I didn't even want to do videos or photos or webinars. Oh my God, webinars! I swore I would never do them, and here I am. But I'll hand that one over to Star.
In a word, yes, you need to get your face out there. Marketing is all about being visible, and it's really hard to be visible when you're hiding behind your brand. And this is fine if you were L'Oreal, which you're not, I hope. It doesn't matter because you're a brand. But when you're a solopreneur and a maker of artisan skincare, and you're the person that's making them with all the love and the knowledge that you have, you need to be the face of your own brand. And yes, that does mean having your face everywhere. I would even put it on your sales page. I missed that off. Naughty Star. But I mean, it doesn't have to be like these cheesy shots though. And in fact, what was the name? Stacey, is it? Stacey, if you email me later, I've got like a free video training you could benefit from, which is how to take your own posh selfies, as I call them. Because I take all my own pictures by just fooling around with my webcam, and you can learn to become comfortable in front of the camera in your own space without feeling the need to go to a studio and stand there with having someone point cameras at you, which can be a scary experience. So if you contact me, I'll give you a video which will help you make your own pictures in this way. But yeah, like Lorraine said, I mean, she didn't want to do that either, but as you progress through your business and you do it more, it just becomes more natural and more comfortable. And I tell you, I used to hate it too. And there's no way about 3 years ago I would even be here on this webinar. I would have been too terrified to do it. I'd be like, I don't know what to say. And so we can all learn to put ourselves out there. It's just a skill like any other skill. Okay?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Look, we're here. We're doing webinars, and both of us did one too a couple of years ago. All right, guys, I think we're going to have to leave it at that. But I really, really appreciate your time, Star. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your knowledge and your expertise with us. I'm sure everyone really appreciates it. I've seen lots of messages here from people saying, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, yes, and you've got a special offer, haven't you? Do you want to tell us about it?
I do. I do what I call a sales page makeover, which is where I can look over people's sales pages and tell them basically what sucks about the sales page, and then help them rewrite it so it actually starts to make sales. So I've got one on offer especially. Well, I'm doing it for only for 5 people. So whoever are the first 5 people to grab me on this, and there should be a link appearing somewhere. Is this going out, Lorraine, somewhere?
We will send out a link.
It's going to send a link to the actual sales page, because it's actually a secret sales page. You won't find it on my website. I've made this this service is no longer public, but I've resurrected it for 5 skincare entrepreneurs who need some help with their sales page. And anyone else that's interested in the training to do with the actual WordPress stuff, contact me as well, because I can keep you in the loop with when that launches, which will be about next week roughly.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for watching us. There's so many messages here from people going, "Thank you, fantastic webinar, really appreciate it." So yes, great. And don't forget, the next webinar is on the 25th of November with Julie Lowe from Socially Aligned, and we'll be talking about how to use social media to get your skincare business out there. So thank you very much. Bye, everyone.